So this is the live interview with Dean Aylesworth today for the
What?
event.
What is live?
Yes. So Dean, you want to tell us a little bit about how you got started in acting and what made you decide to become an actor?
Okay, that's a pretty deep question, because I'm sort of a deep thinker. But when it came to acting, I knew when I was 6, like little, that this is something I was willing to dedicate my life to. This art. I didn't know that it was art. I didn't know that it required sacrifice. I didn't know anything when I knew that this is what I wanted to do. I just knew that I saw people loving what they do, and expressing themselves in such creative ways, and doing different voices and faces, and all that stuff just came naturally to me and was just what I knew my heart beated for. So yeah, and then when I was little, I'd wake up and my dad would be out in the living room, and I usually have some sort of, I don't know, nightmare or episode or something like that in the middle of the night, and my dad would be out there in a chair watching all the classic films, and I know this sounds like a question I've probably answered in the same and similar way, but in the past. So I hope not to reiterate anything that you guys have all heard, but it's the reason why. It's the answer to this question, which is when my dad would welcome me onto that chair in the middle of the night, and we'd watch these classic movies and all of these greats, starting from Jimmy Stewart to Spencer Tracy to Humphrey Bogart to all of those guys. And that's when I knew, yeah, I was little. And then when my dad passed away, I didn't have that comfort of him anymore, but I found it comforting when I sat in that chair by myself and watched those legends and those people. And that's kind of what I knew I wanted to do. I wanted to bring that same sort of feeling too. I mean, I know it seems a little austere, a little high-handed to think that I could ever follow in those men and women footsteps, to affect a kid who's going through something the same way. But I want to try. I want to. Yeah, that's kind of. I hope that's the answer to the question. Did I answer right?
And how did you get started? I mean, after having those goals as a kid, what got you into acting?
Oof. Oh yeah, the actual getting into it, the work. I've taken a whole bunch of life experience. I've watched an interview once with Jamie Foxx, and he talked about his role of Ray Charles that he played, that he won an Oscar for, and he talked about all the things that he was getting prepared for by his grandmother, all of the things by learning piano, and there were so many things that he acknowledged and saw in his life. That was the training that became his work. And so that's kind of what was going on for me. I was involved in public speaking at a very, very young age, because I was raised in a religion that encouraged public speaking, and I knocked on doors every Saturday morning, and I had a great tie, and I could definitely share and convey the ideas that I was being taught to convey. And so I took that on as training, and then I left, my family and everything, and left and joined the circus. I ran to Vancouver, and I've been at it ever since. The first one was Vancouver Film School, and and then I continued to study with some of the, I believe, some of the great teachers and actors still to this day, working, and I've been lucky to hone my craft and work in that way. Is that silly? That's
No.
right. Yeah.
And how did you end up? What led to working on the X-Files and that development of your career?
Yeah, that was a lovely and wonderful period of time. I graduated from Spirit Song. I did a little show called Neon Rider. I had quite long hair. I did a little Throwback Thursday thing on Facebook.
Yes.
My hair, and I was actually for the first time able to represent my indigenous side on film
Yeah.
in that show. It's called Cowboys and Indians, and I then I went on to go and work at the Hard Rock Cafe, and I worked very hard, and I found that my hair was constantly being a bother. Really, it was something, and I was like, you know what, I got, and I mean, as you can see right now, it's still a bother. Right? So it at least it's not falling out. You know what I mean? I was like, I can complain about what, like there are other people.
Yeah, there are other problems.
What I found is that I decided to cut it off, and as soon as I did that, it was like the doors opened, and I had the opportunity of auditioning several times for a television series called Millennium and the X-Files, and Colleen Clark and Heike Brandisher. We're truly constant fans, maybe because I'm kind of a funny, quirky guy, but they really encouraged me to keep coming in, and they gave me this opportunity, and well, I just grabbed it. I gotta be honest, I just grabbed it by the horns, and I continued to work at the Hard Rock Cafe, and yeah, one of my first, while I was working as a waiter, autographs was there. It was kind of interesting. He was like,
Yes.
you, and I was like, yeah, here, just can I have an autograph? And so I looked around, and of course I'm a waiter, and I've got a vest on much like I have on now, and so I grabbed the pen out of my pocket, and I grabbed the coaster, the Hard Rock, and I signed it for him. I go, here you go, and I think I might have said, hey, can you pass me that plate? I'll take that for you. Do you want any dessert? Like,
Yeah.
that every actor has gone through exactly that. Yeah. All of that's training too, I think.
Yes. Julie has a question. She wondered if you have worked with any of the actors from Stargate on other projects.
Let's see. On other projects. God. I work with all of these men and women on a constant basis when it comes to creating and collaborating and working on even right now the Louis Riel story is in conjunction with some of our executive producers from Stargate, and happily to say, but of course, until all of those things are secured, I haven't had the opportunity to work on camera in the same scene with some of my cohorts. I can't say that that's the case. I can say that I do have some support of well, I've had blanket support. I have to be honest. I'm so grateful to the cast and to the directors, the producers, MGM, Stargate Command, like all of those. They're my peers, and they've really welcomed me to represent this character Anubis in all of our conventions and all that. And I'm just so blessed by that. So that's really been my big interaction. I look forward to working with Gary Jones on camera and Louis Riel. I have a part very specific for him that and I like him very much. And he's going to help me as well with some of the business end of that sort of pitches, and he's very good at that.
Yeah. And what were some of your favorite memories of working on the Stargate set, doing that project as Anubis, which is a very iconic role for that show?
To be honest, I'm and it's kind of funny because I was just noticing that that a lot of people answered a question with that statement. Well, the truth is, I have been truthful and honest the whole time, so I don't know why I prefaced it that to get deep into it. The thing that I found was I could sort of sit aside and watch, and I saw family. I saw people who had been together for 8 years previous to my engaging on set, being like family. I was introduced to the guy who plays Shep. Uh, uh, he sang Shaft. He was on the episode just before mine, and
Yeah.
really cool guy, and I was just so touched because like he's freaking amazing in music, and like this is a classic and huge star, and Rick, Richard Dean Anderson was just lovely, and so funny, and I really got. When I look at it that way, it was a family that was already existing, and I was welcomed into it with no trepidation, with open arms, no nothing other than where you been, kind of. It's been so nice, yeah.
And then
Or is that
you
the memory?
recently,
It keeps coming.
you recently were in the new Twilight Zone. How was that experience to be in that show?
Oh, to be in the show, I have to say, when I got the part, I was floored. This is Twilight Zone. And it was, it's one of the dreams. It certainly is one of my dreams that has been fulfilled by whatever standards. And of course, I would love to, be the starring role, leading character of that whole character. I don't care. That small part that I played was as pinnacle or whatever as it was just I was so privileged to be a part of it and elated. I have to say I was scared, and in my in my fear, I went into when I first arrived, I went into the trailer and I saw all these books and all these things to sign and on, as you know. And so I'm a little nervous already, right? And then I got all these books, and I was like, I got upset, and I was like angry, and I tried not to, and just like I haven't. It's like an emanate sometimes, an energy, and like you can feel it. It's palpable sometimes, and people can feel it, and when I'm angry, it's like, and I wasn't angry. I was just kind of, I was more than anything, I think it was emotionally confused and angry to do what I was doing. And I have to say that I was handled with such love and such compassion, and by the third AD and then subsequently everyone else. But I think they all heard, me being loud or whatever in my trailer. Now, I wasn't, addressing that anger or anything to anyone else. I might have been slamming things around in the trailer or something, but I didn't break anything and I didn't hurt anyone. And I did, but yeah. And to my embarrassment.
Difficult because, with the dyslexia, I think being able to look at forms and do things, it would just make everything really interesting.
And thank you for exactly that. That's exactly what, what I learned from that whole experience was when I let go of the facade of all of that other stuff, right? Just being angry and whatever, and then the reason that this young lady had looked after me so well and cared for me and gave me compassion was because I was honest with her about my dyslexia, whereas in the past I haven't been. I would step it off as or make a joke or deflect. And so I learned with that, and I learned how to ask for help. And so that experience just with that, right? That paid off altogether. And then I had the pleasure of working with Chris O'Dowd, who was just lovely and funny and empathetic, and he's a good actor too. I was quite impressed with him. So and I really liked the director. And the other funny thing is the executive producer is an ex-Phillies. He's from the X-Files. So
Yeah.
yeah, I was like, I'm just so, you know what I mean? Like, I just felt so supported. And yeah, I
Yes.
can't wait to hopefully do another one.
I have another question from someone in the chat. They wanted to know what were the differences between working with Stargate, Arrow, and Supernatural. The differences, and then also just a moment here. Let me go back to the question. What were the major differences between working with the Stargate crew, the Supernatural crew, and the Arrow crew?
I would say it's generational without
Yeah.
being, you know, and I can also include Riverdale in that, you know,
Yes.
it all became generational. And
Yeah.
the differences were only that, really, just by age, by
Yeah.
experience. The thing that unites us for sure is in this industry and in this small town, which is really quite a small town. If you've been at this game for some time, that's Vancouver, British Columbia. We all have had the opportunity to work together,
Yeah.
or with someone of, you know, of some I don't know, caliber, right? And whether
Yeah.
it's a director or a DOP or someone that you'd mentioned or you worked with, or, you know, and it's, so we all have something and someone in common. And,
Yes.
and, and it really is kind of like joining the circus. I mean, I know it's once again another cliche, but it kind of is, you know, and we're all kind of a family. We all get it. You know, we all know that we're not all rich. We all know that not, you know, we all know that we're driving for our passion and for our joy,
Yeah.
and express that and hopefully affect audiences so that they can feel those things too. And that's, you know, that's the common knowledge. So, but there's subtle differences only in the sense that there was also, you know, I mean, Arrow hadn't been on for as long as, and neither had, and Supernatural had very much the same longevity as Stargate had. And so there was, I wouldn't say anxiousness or anxiety in Arrow, but that would be the only difference, which and the attribute that I can give it is, once again, that it was younger. It hadn't had its,
Yes.
in season 5 when I had arrived, and in Arrow, and in Supernatural, I believe it was season 11 or 13 or something like that. I'm sorry, I don't know.
There's a lot of seasons to that one.
Right? And so I have to say, I had so much fun on Supernatural. They hung me up, and we had lunch. The lunch that we had, now we usually have, you know, it's catered, and, you know, it's, you know, we go and stand in line, and this truck, you know, gives us the most wonderful food, right? And we have choices of food. Well, in this case, we ate takeout A&W. Like, I thought it was so much fun. It was so cool, and we were just like just so relaxed, and it was just so chill. And I liked Supernatural very, very much. Yeah, and it was the young lady's birthday on that.
Yeah.
And yeah, there was so much fun going on there. Yeah, one of the gentlemen on your convention panels he's the guy who punched me in the face on that. Yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot his name. What was his name?
Ron Selmore.
No, not Ron.
Gary Jones.
No, it's not Gary
Bill,
either. Who's the young man?
Bill
Jesse
Nicolai.
Hutch. It was Jesse Hutch.
There we
Jesse.
go, Jesse.
There we go. Okay, thank you,
Jesse.
Sean.
Yeah, Sean, you saw that. Yeah, thanks, buddy. Yeah, it was Jesse gave me a punch in the face. Yeah. That was when I first met him.
He's coming on next weekend for everybody who's listening, just so they know. And then also, I'll be including links. If you're interested, you can go to the page tonight, and Eric Brecker has a live chat here at 9:15 Central Standard Time. So you can log in there directly from the web page. And then for those of you after this interview, there is an interview with Ron Selmore. He was recently in Batwoman, and he has been discussing he has art as well that he has available. He's a very talented artist, and you can visit his website after watching his interview is pre-recorded. So for those of you who'd like to see that later on, that'll be at the website, collaborationcomicconvention.com. And there you go. But I just wanted to mention that because of the supernatural got me thinking about that. So
You know what? I'm supporting all of these guys because they support me. Just like I was saying, you know, I'm just like we work together, we're supporting each other, we're collaborating, which is what I thought. Like,
yeah.
wow, you know, we're always in that place and happily, you know, taking that 5 seconds to have some other commercial about somebody else on mine, no problem.
And then, Dean, what were your thoughts on like your new work you're doing, The Four Fathers? You're starting that this summer, and that's with Ian Nasinga, isn't that correct?
Yes, and David Nasinga is producing and directing, I believe. Yeah, very cool. It's going to be an amazing project that Zach Santiago, I believe, is playing a pinnacle role in this as well. I'm sorry, I don't remember. I'm bad with names. But this film is going to be. It's so lovely. It's written so well. I cried the first time I read this stupid script, and I'm probably, you know, one of the biggest mushes anyhow, as you guys already know. So, but it definitely touched me, and I'm looking really forward to it because Ian has such an open mind, and he's shared with me his excitement to letting me create this character, and this is why, you know, I mentioned earlier about you know, getting bushy. I'm gonna get bushy.
Yeah.
This is what hair is growing, and you know, so I tried to put it together with some glue so you don't, you know, so you're bushy. But that's going to go on and grow the beard and everything, and I won't be, you know, throughout the whole film, I won't be in that bushy state. It will only be for moments, but I want to offer that to the director to you know, sort of shave down, and you know, whether or not and whatever or not he wants to leave, you know, it's a cop, so he probably have a mustache, but I've never had a mustache. I've never do that. Yeah, I look forward to it. I really do. And then just the camaraderie of getting together again. You know, I kind of miss my family. I really do.
Yes, and I really like, I've talked to Ian at least one time, and I've seen some of his work, but he is so full of thought with what he does and puts such care into it. It'll be a joy to see how that works out.
Yes,
so
he really does. Yes, and I've asked him to be a part of the Racial Gold Project as well.
yes.
Yeah, and so that's super cool too. And he's accepted. Thank goodness. So yeah, and then my dearest and closest friend Milan Dimitri is just going to direct it, and he's going to kill it. Hi, Lynn.
And then Sean has a question. He wanted to know what was your favorite scene in filming for Riverdale recently, this last year?
Oh, my favorite scene? I was in this jail in Riverdale because I played this character who was he had taken some drugs and I guess got all crazy, and he had foam coming out of his mouth. Well, they asked me to, and I had these handcuffs on, they were real handcuffs I couldn't get out, nothing. Even, you know, they had to take a key. So they actually handcuffed me to these bars. And then he said, much to his own dismay, he said, "Go nuts." So I just and it's like, okay, no, don't go nuts.
Yeah.
It was super fun. And then so after that, of course, you know, they filmed it and everything. I don't know if they actually used it in the take, but they loved that performance. They thought it was really great. But I had bruised my wrists really badly.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know, right? And so, and I didn't care because I got adrenaline at that point in time. But the very next scene was a scene where I'm supposed to be very, and so I really enjoyed that that sort of that juxtaposition, and to be able to do it in a matter of seconds from this crazy frenetic to yeah.
Yes, and then
And I showed I showed my gold eyes at that point.
and then Julie has a question. She wants to know if you have been asked to do something in Legends of Tomorrow or Batwoman, both CW/WB production.
I've auditioned for both projects. I haven't been asked as of yet. So they're aware of me. Yeah, and I would be happy to do anything that they might ask of me. Hopefully they're creating something in both of those things for me to play and portray. I'd do it happily. Even if it was one line, right, Lynn?
Oh yes, definitely.
Love to see you.
Here's your TV. Right? I've done that before. I played a waiter. I like do the method of it. Right? And then they'll be like, you're fired.
Just checking here. Does anyone have some other questions for Dean here before we wrap this section up? I'm just going to check the chat here real quick.
I have a question. Did everyone have fun on this? I have to say I did, and I really appreciate you guys tuning in and watching and being a part of my my isolation and your isolation and letting me be a part of it too. So, did you guys have fun?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Already
Yes.
posted.
Cool.
Niece, the
Well,
interview
you're
and
drunk.
the
That's why you're having fun. You're
interview and the panel will be up on the website here by tomorrow. So if you want to go back and rewatch it, you definitely can. Again, just so everyone knows, Dean can do autographs. If you'll just email collaborationcomicconvention@gmail.com, we'll pass on the info to him. And then lastly, there is a Patreon account, Collaboration Comic Convention, that supports the COVID and also the guests.
I was gonna give her a shout out. I almost forgot. Hi, Billy.
And then for further events, just visit our Facebook page and you can join our group. And all the links to the live recordings will be there before they start, so you can click right through on Zoom and enjoy these. And thank you so much, Dean, for being a part of this.
Oh, you're welcome. Happy Corona.
Corona.
Have a good
Guys, I
night,
love all of
guys.
you.
Bye.
Okay.
Dean.
Be careful.
Bye.
Be safe
I'll
and
send you
healthy.
links to the next one. It'll be at 9:15 with Eric Brecker. For those of you who sent emails, we'll send those links over, and you can also visit it via the Facebook page. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.